Welcome everybody, my name is Josh Rivers, and today I'll be recapping Dragula Season 2, Episode 3, Shock, Rock, and Metal. Don't know if that's the official title, but it's the one I'm gonna go with. And this week, I'm just gonna go straight into the challenge. I think that's the best way to go. So the challenge that we have today comes in two parts. First part is they're gonna showcase a rock goddess look and really convey glam and metal together. And the second part is they're going to perform as a rock band in two different groups. The groups consist of Kendra, James, Abora, and Victoria, Victoria being the lead singer. And the other group is Erica, Disasterina, Dolly, and Bitch Pudding being the lead singer of that group. And I'm just gonna go straight into the look. So the first of the rock goddess looks is Bitch Pudding. And I have to say that the first immediate thing you notice is the Pete Burns reference. And I was a big Pete Burns fan. It's been over a year since Pete Burns' passing. And I don't know, I thought the look was great. The look was great. The giant hair, I really appreciate. It's a very glamorous, very luxurious look. There is one aspect of it that I hate and like at the exact same time, and that's kind of like the hairy fringe on the sleeves. On one hand, I dislike it because it doesn't look well kept, but for that exact same reason, I like it because it seems like this is a performer's outfit. You could see a rock star wearing this every night on tour for like 6 months, and that's how it would look. It would look fucked up. And I don't know, there's something about that I like and dislike at the exact same time. I guess the difference is whether or not it's intentional or not. I think the difference is whether or not it's intentional. I'm just gonna assume it's intentional and roll with it, but otherwise I really like Bitch Pudding's look. There's not anything I would change about it. I think it looks great. But while we're on the subject of the looks, they gave these girls this week no time. They really put their name on screen. The girls did a pose and that was it. They did not show us these looks with enough time. It goes by so quickly, and it's like, this is big, this is important. The girls work really hard on these looks. We should be able to see them more. I feel like it was so quickly, they should have had more time with that. And they didn't even do a big spectacle as they do other weeks where they cut back and forth between looks. That didn't happen this week. It was one after the other, and I'm a little disappointed with that because I really like the way they showcased the girls' looks. But, you know, it's what we get. I guess they had to save on time, but the extermination challenge took a lot of time. So I feel like they could have saved a little bit on there and spent more time showing the girls' rock goddess looks. But next look we're looking at is Disasterina, and we are seeing Disasterina in full. With the Disasterina we saw in the previous 2 weeks was very polished. This one is rough around the edges on purpose with a lot of hair everywhere. I loved when she breaks the bottle over her head and she has a look of pure delight. I think that's really telling. Also really appreciate the fact that the horns on her head are not just like plastic, they're actually made of her hair. I think that's really good, and I love a mohawk. So those little two animal skulls on her shoulders with mohawks are like so fucking adorable to me. I think it looks so cute. I like this look, and I also like, we'll talk about later, I like how she translated this one into her rock band look. It seems to be the exact same character, but one's in this group look and the other one is the individual. I do like that she managed to do that. While I think most girls' rock band and rock goddess looks were completely separate, but Disasterina seems to be the exact same character, just in two different looks. Next we have Dolly, and she has this mechanical metal as in the substance, not as the music genre. And I think out of all the looks, if there was a deity to worship, it would be Dolly's look. I do think it's the best look of the night. But one thing I do have to say about it is something with Dolly's makeup. I sometimes feel it's overpowering, and I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure she's the only girl that has the exact same makeup in her rock goddess look and the challenge. It's more apparent in Dolly because usually she has this, you know, very white face with black features kind of makeup anyways. And that's what the look of her rock band did. So it's more obvious to see that in Dolly than it is other girls who didn't do that. Well, Erica kind of did it, but we'll get to that later. And sometimes I feel like Dolly's makeup kind of overpowers, or kind of takes away from this look. It's hard to take away from this look. This look is very big. It's very forefront. You see the inspirations, you see it right away. But sometimes I feel like less severe makeup would have benefited this one more than it would have hurt it. I do love, like I said, I love a mohawk. So that metal spiky mohawk is amazing. Kind of those metal, kind of like metal skeletal wings I love. I love this look, I do. But there's just something about the makeup that kind of throws me off. But overall, like I said before, best look of the night for me. Next is Kendra Onyx. And I think this look is great. One thing I've said about Kendra before is she has such a presence. When she walks the stage, she is commanding and powerful. And that is so illustrated in this look. This look is commanding and powerful. I just don't feel it fits the challenge. I think it's a really good look in and of itself. It definitely fits this goddess theme, but it doesn't fit the metal theme in the slightest. It kind of feels showgirly Vegas to me. I think they said Broadway. I don't think so. I feel Vegas. And I just, to me, it doesn't quite work. I love every element of it and it's beautiful, but it just doesn't work for the challenge. And you know what else doesn't work for the challenge? Is Erica Clash's look. And again, like every week, I love Erica's looks, but to me, they don't take it there with the challenge. And I have to say, out of the three weeks, I think this one deviates the most. Like, I can kind of see what she's going for. It just isn't working because regardless of the fact that what her references are, when you immediately see this character of hers, you don't think metal. You don't think 80s metal in the slightest. It just doesn't come across. There's too much to it, in fact. First off, she's holding a sword. She's Harley Quinn. She's Avril Lavigne. She's Japanese kawaii. There's so many different elements to it that it's not really translating to metal in the slightest. It's not translating to rock and roll in the slightest. And despite, whatever devil horn she's putting up. It kind of feels like the makers of Ever After High and Monster High decided they were going to make a new, different company. And, they tried to get the DC license for Harley Quinn, but they didn't quite do it. So they had to change it a little bit. And then we got Erica Clash's look for this Harley Quinn rock and roll look that didn't quite work. And I think that's why they reference Loris and, Erica definitely has something in her head saying, this is what this represents. But it's not coming over to the audience or to the judges. And that's kind of the problem. And I don't use the word, well, maybe I do. I don't actually rewatch my own videos. So if I say the word hate, I assume I don't say it that often. But one thing I hate about her outfit is those sleeves. I hate those sleeves. Those sleeves make me really upset because first off, they're frilly and they're also like mini skirts on her arm. They're like skirts for her arm and they're separated from her shoulders. It's wrong in every way possible. Hatsune Miku, Sega Saturn, you are not. Oh god. And continuing on with, I don't feel this fits the theme, Abora. And while I think her presence on the stilts is grand, she's literally towering over everybody. Mentally and physically, she does not give two shits about anyone. That's very clear. She is she's above everyone, truly. And I think her performance, the way she showed herself, and we didn't really get to see a lot of that. For the most part, like I said before, all they got to do was walk for a bit and do a spin. And that's all we saw. But with Abora, she was outrageous and headbanging and it was cool. But the outfit itself, it doesn't scream rock and roll at all to me. I like from the neck up. I think the neck up works. Maybe even the shoulder pads at some point. I feel like I saw more rock and roll women with tank tops rather than any shoulder pads at all. But the fashion in the 80s was amazing and horrendous. And that's why it was amazing. I feel like this is just an Abora look that she had. And she just felt it kind of fit the challenge. Not so much it was a look created for the challenge. That's what I'm kind of getting from it. And of course I love the stilts. I live my circus fantasy. It's just not quite fitting of the challenge. Next we have Victoria Black, and I should like this look. I don't think it's a bad look. It's really understated for Victoria, especially what we saw from the first two episodes. And she did it on purpose to showcase who she is. I think why a lot of people get upset with the critique of people of whenever judges say, we want to see who you are. I think it's because The queens always misinterpret what it means. It means just show your personality more through your character. And I don't think this is showcasing, unless Victoria's personality is very boring, and I don't think it is, then this is not representing who Victoria is. Like, the androgyny effect is good. I always love androgyny. The elements are they kind of don't work together in my opinion. Also, the green and purple is like throwing me the fuck off. That's a horrendous coloring. And she's not selling it on stage. That's definitely true. I think when I say they walk and they spin, I think she's literally the only girl that did that. But it resonates so hard with me because that's all she did. Unlike someone like Disasterina, who is popping pills and breaking bottles, or James, who chainsaws a disco ball, and we'll get into that. She just spins. She did a spin, and that was it. How did that convey anything? How was that rock? How did the bitch that was in a burning fortune teller booth just spin on stage, and that was the end of her showcase of her look? It's so much of a downgrade from what we've seen in previous weeks. She was one of the tops, and then all of a sudden, literally as low as she can get. And it's just so disappointing because she's very talented. But what we saw was really disappointing. And lastly, we have James Majesty, and James definitely got the most screen time. Like I said on the first week, James has a knack for selling an outfit, and I don't know why she didn't do that last week when she was on the swing, because she could have sold it. By the way, just a side note, last week I said that James's look was, I think I said syphilis, but it was smallpox. I think syphilis would have been a better story. Looking back, it definitely is smallpox, but either way was boring. So I don't know why she couldn't sell it last week, because she was just on the swing. While this week and the first week, she sells the look. I don't think this is a particularly amazing look. I love the hair, though. Hair is fantastic. But I don't think the elements of this really showcase much. But the way she sells it, the way she, puts out a cigarette on her tongue and cuts a fucking disco ball in half. I also love that there's a disco ball on her shoulder, as if, like, the disco ball she kills, she wears the carcasses as a trophy. I think that's funny. But she just has a knack for selling things. I don't think this outfit's good. I don't think it's good at all. I should not like this outfit. I think the face and the hair is great. But the rest of the outfit, I don't think is good. But she sells it. She sells it like no one's fucking business. That's her strength. That is her strength. Whether she's a look queen, whether, she's a good performer, regardless of the fact, she can sell a look. Okay, so those were the rock goddess looks. And now we are going to get into the bands. First band is Victoria Black's band with James Majesty, Abora, and Kendra Onyx. And they are The Fake, which is a good band name. And their immediate gimmick is that they are under Abora's big skirt because she's still on the stilts. And I like that translated to the performance as well. And I thought, that's really cool. That's a really cool gimmick to have on stage. And the performance starts, and I don't think it's that bad. It starts to devolve pretty quickly. It's kind of clear that Victoria doesn't really know the words. Also, the miming of the instruments is particularly bad, and most of my critiques for this performance is more of a comparison to the next band, PMS. I think most people wouldn't have noticed it if PMS didn't do so well, but the miming of the instruments is particularly bad. James isn't doing so well. I don't think Kendra's doing as that well. Abora is kind of high up in the air, so it's harder for us to notice her because she's such a spectacle anyways. There's a lot of elements of this performance that are very strange to me. There's these strings that they're pulling from each other that I don't know what the meaning behind it is. There's jokes that just don't land, like Victoria cutting James's tongue out or her smashing a TV on Kendra's head. That one definitely didn't land. And I don't know if it's supposed to tell the story of animosity between bandmates. Either way, it doesn't work. There's a lot of things of this performance that do not work. Yeah, this team kind of just faltered out, and the performance was really forgettable. Really, the star of this performance was Abora on the stilts. That's the only gimmick that worked. That's the only gimmick that raised any reaction from me, because I was like, that's cool, that's interesting. But nothing else from this performance worked. And their looks were centered around clear colored plastic. I'm pretty sure they all wore, especially, well, I think they all had skirts that were cleared colored plastic, except for Victoria, who had pants. And I think it was the same material, but it wasn't as transparent. It was a bit more opaque. And I don't think it seemed like she was not part of that band. It feels like she was a separate entity from the rest. There should have been an element. She was shirtless anyways. She should have had like the same material as a jacket, I feel. She just looked separate from the rest of her band. Okay, let's get into the next band, which is led by Bitch Pudding with Dolly, Erica, and Disasterina. Their style was mainly black, white, and yellow, which I think really works. I think that color scheme really works out. They put a lot of details. It matches their instruments. It matched their mic stand. It matched all of the graphics on the background. They like went for it with that kind of color scheme. There's a lot of details to it. And like right off the bat, you know that Bitch Pudding knows the words far better than Victoria ever could. Bitch Pudding is selling this performance. One thing I like about this performance is that it's not just Bitch Pudding's show. The other girls are putting on the performance. They are not just standing there. They are performing. And I really like that. Even if they're just miming their instruments, it is a showcase of a band. And unlike with The Fake, PMS is together. They are constantly interacting. They're constantly touching. They're not on separate sides of the stage. Even Erica, who's the drummer, switches places with Disasterina, so she's on stage. So she's moving on stage, even though she was the initial drummer. Like, it's stuff like that that really make this work way better and doesn't put anyone in the background. So we have a lot of different gimmicks with this one as well. So the first one I saw is when there's a guitar solo and Dolly's just shredding. I think Bitch Pudding's off stage throwing fries into the air. I don't really understand it, but I relate to it. That's an image straight out of my psyche. I don't know if there's something wrong with me, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. And then we also have Disasterina smashing her guitar, which I feel is a little bit like stereotypical, but that does adds to the story and gives more of a reason as to why Erica and Disasterina switched places from Erica being the drummer to Disasterina. And then that continues into Erica basically beating Bitch Pudding down. It's giving me the story of a band that's fed up with their lead singer because they just start like fucking up with Bitch Pudding. The rest of the performance is basically them tearing apart Bitch Pudding on stage, and it's so fun and so interesting to watch. So they ended the performance with smashing a drum on Bitch's head, because of course, which I also think is a bit stereotypical, but it works. I think that one works a bit more when you get the storyline. This was definitely not intentional, but I found it humorous. Dolly kicks Bitch Pudding to like push her down to the floor, and Dolly herself kind of falls and trips over. And I'm pretty sure they were supposed to just like walk away and leave Bitch Pudding alone on stage. That didn't happen because Dolly fell, so now it was just Dolly and Bitch laying on the ground together for some reason. I don't think that was intentional, but I found it humorous nonetheless. I think it's very clear that PMS was the better band. Also a good name. I didn't mention the name. That's a good name as well. And the Boulets agree. They declared that team the better of the two. And they also declared Bitch Pudding the winner of this challenge. And I actually agreed. Well, it's not that I disagreed with them for the previous 2 weeks. It's just I called different girls the winner, and this time I actually assumed Bitch Pudding was going to win, and I was correct. It was definitely between Bitch Pudding and Dolly. I think it was one of those two, because Dolly's look, her goddess look was so good, and she really did amazing in the performance as well. I just assumed that Bitch Pudding won because it was such a big step up from the previous 2 weeks where she didn't do so well. I think it was her improvement that really had her win. I think she did excellent, but I think it was her improvement. And they announced everyone on Team PMS safe, which means my baby Erica is safe, even though I was a little scared. She did great in the performance though, so I was not going to be scared for her at all. It was just a look that was a little off, and they said it themselves that they like the look. It doesn't fit the challenge. So then we have Team The Fake, and they announced James safe which I agree with. I think James' presentation of her outfit was so good that they had her safe, and then they continued with critiques, and then they later announced Abora safe. I was confused as to why they had Abora safe. I personally think Abora in the performance was the best because her stilt gimmick was the one that worked the best for me. So in that way, I feel like it's justified, but also it's like maybe a bottom three, maybe 3 people in the extermination would have been better than 2. But they announced her safe regardless. So we have Victoria and Kendra up for extermination, have to do the extermination challenge. And this extermination challenge, out of any, I could have handled. I don't have a single tattoo on my body. Now, the reason being is 1, because I'm poor. The second reason is because I know if I get 1, it will not stop. I will be covered in an instant. There's nothing that I want in particular. Every time I see a tattoo, I go, that looks cool, I want that. Like, I really give no fucks about what's on my body. And I don't care if it looks good, I just want it on my body. So that's why I don't get them, because I know I'm never going to stop. So for this challenge, I was a little disappointed that with the tattoos they got. So I didn't even explain the extermination challenge. So this extermination challenge, they each have to get tattoos. And the person that gets the most ridiculous, regrettable tattoo wins. Neither of their tattoos was regrettable or ridiculous in the slightest. I thought both tattoos were cool. I mean, basically they each got the Dragula logo. So we had Victoria. Hers is the word slut with the Dragula logo. And I'm pretty sure hers are colored. And she gets it on her ass. Why wouldn't you? And Kendra gets a lipstick with the Dragula logo on her thigh, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, neither of those are regrettable. I mean, they're both pretty cool. I don't mind either of them. I do think the slut one just looks better. In general, and I'm pretty sure that Victoria's is colored. I don't think Kendra's is colored in. I don't think any element of Kendra's is colored in. I'm pretty sure it's just the outline of a lipstick and the outline of the logo. I don't think it's a filled in logo at all. So I think that's basically why Victoria won. It's because hers was colored, hers was filled. I guess, I didn't find it regrettable. I feel like if they had put a third girl in this challenge, it would have upped the ante, especially if that girl had a tattoo. It would have made it seem like they had to go bigger than what they went. But really, they just had 2 elements. They had the Dragula logo and something else, and I guess slut wins over it. I thought both tattoos were cute. I wish they were regrettable. But Victoria wins that challenge, and we have to say goodbye to Kendra, which is sad because I like Kendra a lot. She's a great queen. She just didn't wow them in the particular challenges, but I liked her looks regardless. I just always liked someone else's looks better. But we had to say goodbye to Kendra, and she leaves in a glorious way. So her extermination is she gets her in her car. She sees that she has something on her windshield, thinks it's a parking ticket, grabs it. It's a card that says you won. She opens it and anthrax all over her face. Oh, the anthrax scares. Oh, that was a time. Remember the anthrax scares? Remember how I remember watching it and people going, these anthrax attacks are not terrorist attacks. And I'm like, I was 6. I was 6 years old when that happened. And I'm like, sweetie, they may not be from who you consider to be terrorists, but they're causing terror nonetheless. They're terrorist attacks. So, the anthrax scares. That was, isn't. And so she gets hit with anthrax straight in the face, which I don't think ever happened. I think it just there was anthrax in letters and then they just happened to breathe. I don't know what the effects of it. I don't know if there would be different effects if it goes straight in your face or if it's just in a letter. Because Kendra starts coughing and her hair starts falling out immediately and she dies in an instant. I'm pretty sure anthrax takes a couple days. I may be wrong. I may have not done my research. I definitely did 0 research, but that's what I remember seeing. Or maybe that was just that was just trying to make people feel better. I think Kendra sold the death. I think she really did. I just like it better when the Boulet brothers have more of a hand in the death. Of course they were the one that set up the anthrax, but I want when Kendra was coughing in front of her car, I want to see a hand grab the Prindle, the Prindle, and put it in neutral and have the car run over Kendra. That's what I was expecting, but she just died in the front seat. and her head slammed on the horn. Like, I guess that's good. I was just expecting a little bit more. But nonetheless, I enjoy it. I always enjoy the extermination videos. They are so fun. They're so good. And the performance by Kendra was really good this week. My name is Josh Rivers. Click whatever thumb button relates to whatever emotion you may be feeling right now. You can follow me on Twitter at PixelPixelBoom. You can join the Discord. Link in the description. Leave a comment below telling me how you felt about this episode. And also leave me suggestions to talk about in the future, Dragula related or not. I love you guys. I'll see you guys next time. And remember to have fun. Bye, guys.